when I make a custom profile and I made it bad and I want to delete it, I
Yeah.
don't know how to delete it.
Delete it?
So
Okay.
I just make it red so I know I don't use that ever again.
Let's go. We'll go find out.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing that's kind of interesting here too is that there's this right here, and I find a lot of people don't know what's really going on there. These are materials that I made because I saved them, and those are my names. What's interesting is if you turn off user, those go away because those were made by a user. Okay. In the same respect, if I turn off GemVision, then I don't have all those other things I don't sell. So if you only do Ruby and Emerald and Blue Sapphire and so on, resave them, and then you can turn GemVision off, and your list will be much shorter. If you're not selling Iolite or then you don't have to show them.
And does it remember that when it reloads? It always comes up that way?
I think so. I wouldn't. I don't do it, so I have a feeling it does.
But you could change the parameters of diamond. There's our color gem that's a little more orange than this. You could save it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you change anything,
to make a new category, keep it in
correct. And it will, if they're both on, they'll both show up, So, but yeah, there's just a ton.
It is a long list of.
Yeah,
I fumbled through that myself. So.
It makes you crazy. You want to just want a diamond. Where's the diamond?
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Cool, man. Yeah, thanks. All right. So, and you can do it with metal and so on. It doesn't, whichever one you want. Okay, Shelly. It's Shelly Day. So we have a profile, and you say one we make ourselves. So let's do that. So let's go profile placer, and let's say edit. So we're gonna edit the profile, and I have no predetermined idea whatsoever. So in messing around with this too, notice that this says left side over here, right? And so if we work on the left side over here and do a trim, okay, and then say mirror blend, you gotta join it, sorry. So join, you with me? And then, so anytime you hit this mirror, it's keying off of which side, okay, that you're doing. And what this means is the mirror blend is at 0.5. All right, see these blue lines, okay? It's 0.5 this way and 0.5 this way. What it's doing is it's splitting it here and it's splitting it here and it's blending between them. Okay? That's what mirror blend means. All right? Okay, so here's our new profile, and I am going to name it Shelly Day. With the hopes that we can delete it. Just kidding, Shelly.
No, you just make it red. And erase it
No,
again.
I'll make it, I don't know, green or something happy. Okay, so save profile. And,
Comes down to the bottom.
yeah. And it should be at the bottom, and it is. Now, you can edit order, okay? And then you can drag this up, and you have to just, unfortunately, it doesn't do what they call rubber band. In Windows, when you go up and hit the edge of a window and it moves, that's called rubber banding. Sorry, we're not that cool. So to get it to the top, you really got to earn it. You gotta walk it up there. You might consider an intern. Do this for you. Anyway, well, I kind of want it at the top now, but whatever. All right, so it's right there. And then, how do you edit the color, Shelly? Is it right click? Yeah. So we'll make it, oh, there's me, there's KW, so there's that color. And how do you delete it? And let's turn off edit order. And if we right click, that is only color. I'm afraid that we probably need to go do it ourselves. Okay. Return profile. Hey, there's my profile though. All right. So yeah, I don't see. Let's go F6 MSR. No. All right. So here's where they live. If we go to drive C, okay. Don't write this down yet. I gotta think. Drive C, matrix 9. User library. Okay, now that's where we can put smart pattern stuff. Let's go to documents. Here we go. This feels better. Profiles. Okay, so it's drive C. Or no, it's not. It's documents. It's documents under your user. So documents, matrix 9, profiles, and then opener closed. Okay, that was closed. It went all the way around. And then profile placer. Uh-oh. I forgot their CPTs. Oh, but there's still a name, I believe. Yeah, Shelly Day. Shelly Day.
And they're just,
Shelly Day's over.
okay, great. Whew.
I've got the same issue with custom ring rails,
Thank you.
because I build my stirrup shapes, you can't get rid of them.
That's how. Let's see where those are.
You go and
You go delete them. Yank the rug out from under them. So, was that profiles?
Profiles.
There it is. Those would be closed as well, and those would be
Awesome.
outside ring rails.
As long as you've named them.
As long as you didn't call it, Now, if you named it like ours, like you called it shoulder 4 or shoulder 5, and you're like, oops, just go by date modified,
Or can you go into view?
So
Does view give you a thumbnail though?
highly doubt it.
Large? Extra large?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. They used to be curves, and they changed them into these CPTs, and
Okay.
but they used to be actual 3DM curves, and you could see them.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. I
Alrighty.
got a few to delete now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice to have, delete profile. It would be nice to also have a GemVision button and a user button.
Get rid of all the profiles that are in there that you never use.
Totally. Totally.
Sorry. I have
Yeah, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, it's overdue crazy.
That was the owner, Jeff High.
You made me sick.
He went profile crazy.
Oh.
I use like 3 and then edit them. Or draw my own. It all depends on what I'm doing. All right, cool. Are we still recording? Yep. All right, let's, should we do file management?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're all on matrix 9. That's cool. And I can't fix what maybe is already done. But I can talk about how I would go about stuff. So, I'm a big believer in some sort of backup system, and I personally use Dropbox. Okay, I'm not on commission for Dropbox. Wish I was, because I talk about it. But so if you look down here on my machine, there's my Dropbox running, and don't judge me, but that does say boy toy necklace. And somebody wants, that was Madonna, but somebody wants a boy toy necklace. So as long as they're paying. Oh, yeah, we'll get them. We'll get them there. Yeah, I don't need all these either. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so here's what's going on. What I did, I'll talk about Dropbox for a minute, and then I'll talk about how to manage this over here. So on my drive D, which is my storage drive, so I have a drive C, which is my system drive, where Windows is and all my programs are, and it's a it's 500 gig, half a terabyte, and I have plenty of free space left, so I'm good there, okay? And then I have my D drive, okay, which is a terabyte, basically, and I'm not as crazy as Shelly, so I'm good there too. Shelly's almost, although yours is not as big as this.
No.
We need to look at your machine when the smoke clears and see if we can add a hard drive to it.
Okay.
And if we can, I love spending Shelly's money. I'm really good at it. I'm like, you need Netflix, you need Dropbox. And I'm like, she's over here with her credit card going, okay. And so we might be going to Best Buy tonight and buying a hard drive.
Yeah, so do you like the idea of having an external hard drive to pop things onto?
I used to, and I don't anymore. Now, let me rephrase that though. So in my bag is one of my external hard drives, and I do have stuff on that that isn't anywhere else. And that scares me. No, I take it back. It's on another external hard drive.
Oh.
If my house burns down, they all go.
Yeah.
And guess what? I don't care because my house is gone too. But in Toronto, there was a user, and she picks up her purse and pulls out 3 external hard drives. She has these jobs on this one, these jobs on this one, and these jobs on this one. And I'm like, you are asking for it, right? You drop one of those, and guess what? Hard drives have a shelf life. So if it's one of the spinny ones, it's going to quit spinning. Now, I read an article the other day because, the SSD drives have no spinning parts, right? It's just like a big memory stick, only really big.
Yeah.
And those have a shelf life. And I'm like, oh man, what's that? You'll be like 157 years old when your shelf life in theory quits.
Okay.
So those are cool. But if you drop one,
You're screwed.
I can't say that it'll still work. So there's that. So I'm okay with external drives, except for I've had them stop. And then you're like, oh, great.
When did it back up last?
Now I lost that one. Yeah.
The Dropbox idea is nice.
So Dropbox, yeah,
I
it's...
already use Dropbox, so it's...
Oh, okay. Yeah, and a lot of people have a free account, but you only get like...
Was it 2 megs or something?
yeah, like 20 meg or 2 meg or whatever.
For the $100 you spend a year on that.
Yeah, I think that's a terabyte. It solves the problem, and it makes it really easy to share files with people. So, on my D drive that's really big, okay, I made a Dropbox folder, okay? And in that Dropbox folder, anything that I want backed up, I put in there. Now, I will show you that when we're recording the movies, here's Vancouver, and here's day 1, and there's the movies we recorded. You can see how big they are. If I was saving them in my Dropbox folder, this one's 200 meg. wait, what is that? Anyway, they're big.
Huge.
They're huge. And in order for that to go up into Dropbox, I have to be hooked up to the web. So now my machine is like, so I'm going to upload them later. So I took them out of my Dropbox folder. But so check this out. All my business stuff, that's the name of my company, by the way, Pixel Zapper Studio. All my business stuff, all my work stuff. So here's my clients, I'm doing stuff for. All this is all backed up because it's in the Dropbox folder, okay? And what's neat is that I could log into Dropbox on Rosemary's computer, right? And here's all my stuff then. If I go to files, there's all those folders that you just saw, right? There's my Pixel Zapper folder, and I can get to it from anywhere. So that's real nice. The other question I get though is you're not just doing this in Dropbox. As you saw, these files are local, okay? And they're in Dropbox. So what I did is I made a folder called Matrix Projects, okay? And if you look over here, there's CAD 11, there's CAD 11, okay? There's Canada, etc. I started messing around and making copies and stuff for training. So I got to go clean house. Whenever I'm done training, I go delete a bunch of stuff that I did. Okay, does that make sense?
So what, do you copy or you save as up to the Dropbox folder?
It does it automatically. Dropbox is just sitting there. If it finds a folder, well, here, watch. I'll show you. So let's watch Dropbox, and it says up to date, okay? And then let's see if we can. Can I make this stay open?
So not job bag 29 there. So if you put something in job bag 30.
Yeah. Well, and I was just gonna So watch. I'll copy a file. So let's go to Dropbox, and then watch right down here. Watch right down there. And let me find a decent size file. So let's go to Matrix Projects, and we'll go to Canada. And what's the biggest one? 17 here. So job bag 23. If I right click and copy it over here and say copy here, and watch down here. See it blue? See that blue dot? That was uploading. When the blue dot's gone, it's now that's backed up. So there's job bag 23 copy, okay? And if we come over into Dropbox, you can see we're up to date again. And if it's syncing really big things, you can pause it by just mousing over right there, pause syncing. But job bag 23 is those are recent files,
But even
okay?
if you put something in a job bag, it's gonna update it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. And then I can right click here and say delete, and it will come up and say, hey, I'm not only going to delete this from your computer, but I'm going to take it off of Dropbox too. But you can choose not to. You can selectively say, well, delete it local, but leave it remote. I don't do that. I say delete it everywhere. If it's going, it's going. That's just me though. Okay. So that's how that works. But let's take a look then. So in Matrix, okay, you've got these projects, and you don't want to let, so here's my one client, and let's see how many I have for her. That's a bad sign when it takes that long to sit and spin and look at it. So I'm probably, I'm up to 85. That's getting a little out of hand, I should clean this up, because these are jobs that are done, like way back here. These are all done, and I really don't need, if I want these job bags, I should get them out of there, right? What I really should do is every project that I do for her, I should make its own row, Now, I can tell you though that this list, all right, this list, let's go back over here to my matrix projects. My first one is called Australia. You see that over here? No. Okay, so here's what I do. When you go into manager, okay, every single job bag shows up, but you'll notice that some are lit up and some are not. Okay, so if I'm done with a job, I don't move it out of here. I don't copy it somewhere else. I don't do any of it. Number one, it's already up in Dropbox. But number two, I may want it back in here. So what I do is, well, here's, I think this is Shelly's folder. So here's West Tips. Okay, so we uncheck it and hit close. And then if I come over here, West Tips is no longer in the list. Now the nice thing about that is that what happens is when people get too many job bags, they always say, my matrix is running slow. Do I have too many job bags? The answer may very well be yes, okay? Because when matrix starts, it looks at every single job bag row, okay? And loads the previews and all that. That's another thing that it's doing that's why it takes a while. So if you turn them off, they're still sitting in the folder, and Matrix doesn't even know they're there until you go into Project Manager, okay? So that's now, if you turn it back on, and here's my Canada copy and my other Canada copy, if we turn that on, okay, there they are. They show up in this, like, right away. And we can right click here and say delete. And come on. What do we got going on? Delete.
So I have a different system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure.
Well, let's, can we wait for, let me hit
Absolutely.
pause. We'll wait for Scott. I'm sure he just had.
Audio. Sorry.
Let me show you this, and you could always, I don't know about going back retroactive, but here's what's built into Matrix, and it's pretty powerful if you embrace it. If you know, now it doesn't have to be just job bags. You'll notice that in here, okay, we have these are job bags. And job bags, by the way, are file import and file export, right? That's the command. So when you click on the picture and it imports it, how do we know that? Because if we already have that and we hit file import, then it didn't say, do you want to save this file? And it didn't, it brought it in.
Yeah.
By the way, there's, let's get something with a little more going on. There's another, I'm trying to find a particular, there's that one. Okay, here's this one. All right, so this job bag, this ring, here's something I find a lot of people don't realize, and that is you can right click on a job bag, and when you right click on a job bag, you can bring in just the curves, just the surfaces, just the gems. So if you have different iterations of this ring going on in job bags and you're like, oh man, I moved all my gems, I want just the gems from this, if you click that and hit import, that's all it brings in.
Oh.
Cool?
Very nice.
All right, so it's just a quick thing. All right. Now, yeah, so right click. I do that every once in a while. They're like, oh yeah, I just want the curves. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that's a ring wrap. Woo. Okay. And then, so this down below this is save as, all right? So this is literally file save. And don't worry about the titles. We kind of were thinking, all right, here's when this whole row is done, when I'm done working on Mrs. Canada, and I have the actual final piece, like maybe this is it. This is the one that we went into production with or whatever. Then I may come over here And let's hit the plus so I have another master. Now I have master 2. And I'll get this so that it's the preview that I want, right? And I'll hit go. And now, save, if we have a whole bunch of stuff, let's say hidden, or we have layers turned off, or whatever, right? When you do export, when you put it in a job bag, it's not going to get this metal 2, okay? Because it's exporting the only thing that's selected. But when you save in a master, okay, I don't know if you saw it, but the little preview shows that there's no piece there, okay? So now let's hit File New, and I'll guarantee that it's gone, okay? When you click this picture, okay, then it's going to come in, and guess what? Anything that was hidden or anything that was turned off is still there because you did save as. All right? So I'm okay with that. The way I work, I do version. I'm building. And anytime I think, oh man, I've worked on this a while and I haven't saved it, I throw it in a job bag. Now, I might have to go turn on a couple layers or show some stuff, but that's just the way I work. Now, Rosemary's just going to go hit File, Save As, and maybe do you do incremental save?
I do. You know, if it's a complex job, or if I feel like I might need to go back and make changes later on, then you know, I might do 20 saves.
Right.
And then make sure. And then obviously, like when I had the micro printer, I had ones that were saved with the micro that I'd done the supports for, or if I do a rendering, then I do a rendering save.
So
and I'll label it that way. So
yeah. All real good, and that's what these labels are. Here's a render stage. Here's some parts. Maybe you have parts like, oh, I really like the way these came out, so I'm going to save those parts here. But this wasn't my idea, and so I don't use it. That sounds really egotistical. I don't think this way, so I don't. This was Jeff's brainchild. These parts and creation and so on. Now, let's look at this though. So that's what makes these different, and that's what works. But if we come over into this Canada row and go into the manager, there's way more going on in the background if we click on this. And if we click on this, then here's all the different parts to this, okay? And what's neat is we have the info built in. Okay, so this was a girl from the Toronto? Yeah. And so there's Dana Smith. Here's my customer list. Right now it consists of me and Dana, all right? So let's add a new customer, okay? So you click the pencil and Rosemary, I don't know if I spelled it right, and your last name is Michael today.
Okay.
All right, Rosemary Michael. All right, company, blah, blah, blah. Address, you can put all this in there, okay? City, phone, email, URL, yada, yada. I'm adding a customer, okay? So it's under add. And by the way, if you wanted to delete it, then you go find it that way. This is where you add, delete, or update, okay? So I'm adding. So I hit create, and it says that customer was created successfully. So now my list reflects me and Dana and Rosemary, okay? Now what's cool is, so if that's who this is for, I switch it to Rosemary, okay? And here's the status of that job. It's in progress, it's in molding, it's in casting. You can go update this anytime you want, okay? So it's in casting. The due date is right here. Well, we're in trouble. It's a week late. Bummer. Okay? And you can literally click the calendar and go, oh no, I was just kidding. It's due the 3rd. Okay? Here's the job number if you want to cross-reference your PO system, whatever. You can put in some labor here if you want to track what you quoted them. Maybe this is just, it's like, look, I quoted them $250 for the CAD work on this. So you just have a record of it. Here's the ring size. That's being populated by the one in the job bag, okay? Now, the description, you can put anything you want in here, okay? And this pertains to the whole row, by the way. This is Canada, and it's typically one job, not all different job bags like what I'm using it for, okay? And then you get these tags, so that you can have just one copy of it, but have it cross-referenced, all right? It's like, oh, this was an Art Deco style, okay? And you know what? I might even say, well, this had a channel in it, and who knows, you know? I mean, it goes on and on. It had mill grain. You can get as granular as you want on this. It's not a 3-stone, so I'll nuke that one. And you can, by the way, you can add your own. So if our tags don't do it for you, you can delete ours and get rid of them. You can rename them, or you can add one, you know? Conflict free. Maybe we don't have that one, you know? And so you add it. That was done. And so we hit close, and then we go over to the list in alphabetical order, I hope, or mine at the bottom. Well, that's handy. Conflict free. All right. Now, that was saved. Okay, so all that's updated. And then you can come over here to this search over here on their search filters and go conflict, did I do that right? Conflict free. And hit search. Hey.
You have nothing in it?
Oh, this was, hang on. This was text search. Hang on. Let's go search. Let's just do conflict. Search. Holy crap, what happened? Where?
There's nothing, you haven't labeled anything conflict
I thought
yet.
I
It's a
did.
tag, right?
I thought I added that as a tag.
But did you tag it?
Well, that job bag row where I made it is what I was. Let's hit reset and let's go into Canada. And
Yes,
I
you
did.
does have it.
So I did that. Conflict free. Yep. So save.
But do you have to have a rosemary job bag?
No, that's the customer.
Okay.
The job bag is called Canada still, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
totally you can
Ding,
you would name this whatever you wanted.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but this is the customer for. So well, let's see if any of this works, shall we? So
Maybe you have to update it or something.
I don't know. It worked last time I used it, so of course. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong.
Search data. Does data come up?
Well, it would work here. Oh man. Isn't this great? So yeah, you should probably just keep doing whatever you're doing.
Well, it's good. It's a good system.
This worked.
Yeah.
This worked.
I don't know. Do you have to
I don't know
hit
what's
the
wrong.
refresh down at the bottom?
Do what? Sure, why not? Let's hit refresh. And what was it? Art
Under tags?
Deco? Tag. Oh, maybe you have to do this. Maybe you can't search that. Maybe we do conflict free, and let's get that out of there and hit search. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
There it is.
Yep. And so one file, and there it is.
Oh yeah, because it's under tags.
It's
Okay.
under tag, so search the tag. But we can go, I don't know if I might have 3-stone. Or did I delete that one? Let's hit search and see if yeah, I have so there's a 3-stone tag in this one too. Or a conflict,
Generally, if I'm working.
just
on
conflict.
something, I know where it is. And it's when the client comes back and says, you built a rig for me 5 years ago, I lost it on another. Then you have to go find the matrix file.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
And it's usually buried in the program, not with the customers.
And it's usually a matrix 7 in your old computer.
That's exactly right.
There's nothing I can do about that. With this going forward, well, and how many people are looking for that file? Just you? So imagine if you had 4 personnel looking, and they don't even know this customer because they didn't work there then, you know?
Doesn't matter, you search it and it comes up the list.
No, I'm not trying to, this is how it works.
Yeah.
Your system is your system.
Yeah.
Of course.
This one's pretty handy because of these tags and,
Yeah, that is a nice system.
you know, it's, now, I know you have a bunch of files. You could go back in and find them or not, or start this in another section and try it,
Yeah.
you know, up to you. But it's pretty powerful because the search, if you use it right and not the way I showed you, it actually works too.
So if you've upgraded from different versions, like you brought up,
You
got sent in
You can't bring the information.
you have to go open it. So you go to your 7 file and you open it in here,
projects.
do all this, you know, and then resave it and it'll update it. And it'll be a matrix 9 file then, and it'll have all this info in it. But there's no way to go back and say, look at these, because there's no meta information or tag information. There's none in the file. But you can import, okay? You can import a project, and I think it will go back to, it probably will go back to 7. I don't have any to try, you know?
Yeah.
On my hard drive. I have backed up, I started Matrix 1, so I've got old files, but anyway, there's what's out there, there's what's going on, and so the beauty of this Dropbox thing is that I duplicated my file structure at home. So on my desktop at home, and this would be great, like if you go somewhere, like every weekend you go home, right? So you might have a computer at the store, and you might have a computer at home. So what I did is on my desktop at home, I said, okay, here's my D drive. It doesn't even have to match letters, but I thought it was easier. And I made a Matrix Projects folder inside the Dropbox folder, okay? You could go to my house right now, and we made these files today, right? And you could go home and go open up my Matrix and go to Canada, job bag 29, and load it. Why? Because they're both looking at the same Dropbox folder, and it's sitting there downloading. And that, to me, is worth the price of admission.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
but I have a question. So if I'm naming my files, my job bags, the same name, and so if I have a Rosemary at the office and a Rosemary at home, do they merge them together in Dropbox?
Mm-hmm.
It's by
Okay.
folders.
It's the same folder. They're not separate. It's literally because it's the same place, right?
Okay.
Now, here's the one catch. Does it merge it? That's. I see your question. Let's see if we can. Duplicate that scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the back door, and I'm out here now in Dropbox, okay, on the web, right? And I said it was Matrix support, and not Matrix support. Sorry, Matrix projects. It's Matrix projects right there. Okay, there's Australia, there's Canada. Okay, let's make a new. Where's new folder? New folder. Kent is cool is added. I do that when I teach a lot. I'm not an egomaniac, but I've done that for years. Okay, so there's a folder. Okay, if we go into Matrix, all right, that's not there. There's no Kent is cool, but I made it in this folder, didn't I? So if someone is at my computer in Iowa and they make a new job bag row called Kent is Cool, right? My matrix over here doesn't know it until I go to manager and it goes, hey, somebody made a new job bag folder and it's right here. Do you want it? Yeah, import that. Now they are synced. I had to go out and do that by hand because I'm not at home, right? So Shelly, they are the same, right? You can't have two folders the same in the same place. So if you go to work and you work in the Kent is Cool folder and you add 3 files, when you come home and you want to work on those, they won't be here until you go into Matrix and you go click on Manager, and the minute you go in there, Matrix will go new files and you say import. That's how it works. And so now, lo and behold, check it out. There's this. There was nothing in there, but there's the folder. Cool?
So when I go back to the office, like we went to load all the things in Dropbox, so when I go to the office and click on manager, all those ones that I have to hit. Okay.
Everything that you did on the road,
Mhm.
right? If you go in the office and click on manager, it's going to come up and go, all these, and
It'll
you
be
know,
one click.
it'll be,
grab all.
yeah.
I know, but
You can say ignore or import.
yeah, but I just know the ones that when we were trying to update my office ones, they didn't, unless I'm looking wrong. So I'm gonna.
Well, you can call me. You can call me and I can log in or whatever. But that's how it works right there. So as long as we have them in the right spot.
Dropbox is fantastic.
It is. And then if I want to send you a file, let's say one of you guys, well, as a matter of fact, the Canada thing, I'm going to give you the link to Canada, right? So you can have all these job bags.
Sure.
So all I do is I right click on here and I say copy this Dropbox link. Copied link on Canada, okay? And then I literally can just go into my email or whatever and go paste. And by the way, this is what's really interesting. Look at these links. Now, not like letter by letter, but see it's X2EZ, X2EZ. This link is the exact same. It does not change. So if I keep adding files in this over and over and over, and you go click on this link in a year, and I've added to it, you'll see them. It's the same link.
Wow.
Because it's a storage place on, so be careful. Don't put all your ones for different customers in the same folder. They'll see everyone's. All right? So don't lunk it into send to customer and then go give them that link. They'll get everybody's file, okay? So watch out. But in this case, it's great because I'm sitting here adding stuff to it and I don't have to go, oh, I need to make a new link. It's the same link to that folder. All right.
Is it whale time?
That's all I have to say about that. What is it?
Whale time?
Whale? I don't know.
I have one question before you move on here.
No trouble.
Talking about trying to find old files. If I do have a file that's on an external hard drive or in an old Matrix program or whatever,
Yep.
What's the easiest way to get pictures?
I mean the file?
When you're looking for the file, sometimes you open a file and there's 100 job bags in there, and you're looking for a particular version. And if you don't have pictures, you don't know what's in each file. You got to open each one.
Oh, you click on view.
Yeah.
Click on view and then it's
Well,
going to show you.
you gotta be real careful.
I've had issues with that.
If it's supported with thumbnails.
That's the key.
I've had issues where it doesn't always open them.
If the file is really old, Rhino will not generate a thumbnail of it. Okay? If it's that old, it may or may
Maybe that's the
not
problem.